Okay. If we find the window, and we start in a moment. Okay. All right. So today is May the 10th. We're going to take a look at the market. So we're going to have these meetings on a regular basis every Friday at 4:30 PST. And we are going to be, hey, Chris Rosser, Scott Valentine. So it's going to be live meetings, um, about 20 minutes, 30 minutes. More if we need to go more in details. But basically, we're going to use some of the indicators that we are developing, all based on the power law. And I want to show them how to get an analysis or get an understanding of the current market. We are going to do this on a weekly basis, and we are trying to make some predictions or at least some understanding of where we are with the market at a particular time. And also explain how to use these indicators. These indicators are mostly used on a much longer time frames, like cycles, basically. But we're also trying to see if we can understand the current market based on the current data, the indicators. So we have three main indicators shown here in this graph. The first one, just to show you the name, is called the BTC Power Law Bands. And mostly what the indicator does is supposed to show us, I can show you a general idea of indicator. So if I scroll at different times, it has three components. So the first component is the general trend that is indicated here in white, that is the power law, the general power law. This is not the adaptive form of the indicator that we usually have. We have another indicator. So so basically these indicators are available through our Patreon program. I will put the link in the description of the video. So when you join our Discord community, we give you access to one of these indicators. So it's another indicator that is kind of a more adaptive form of this power law trend. It adapts to the local price. In fact, we can pull it up in a moment because I show you how actually it helps us a little bit better in understanding the action at the daily or even weekly level, because it adapts to the current data. And so that is the most basic indicator that we have developed. And we are developing others. So these ones are actually the newest form of indicators. And all the entire idea of creating this community is for us to work together and helping each other. So there is a very minimum amount of entry level, that is basically costs only $5 to join the Discord channel. And then you get one of these indicators, right? The adaptive one that I will show you in a moment. And the other ones, in fact, we are preparing a package right now where you get all the indicators where we are developing, and in fact, even future ones, including there is some demand for some alt indicators that we are not very keen to push because we are focusing on Bitcoin mostly. But some of these indicators could be useful for some of the alts if people want to trade some of the alts, mostly with the idea of getting more Bitcoins. And so there is a package where it's basically $15, and then you get access to all the indicators. So at this point, we have almost like 6 different indicators that will be released in a few days. The 2 main ones, you can get it for $5 or $10. If you the second one is actually this indicator that I'm showing here, that is the spiral clock. And then that gives you access to our community, where we have DCA signals. We have they come up every day with different weights that you can use to do DCAs. We have like multiple channels. I will give you a tour of a Discord channel at a certain point. But it's really a wonderful community with a lot of helpful people, everybody interacting with each other. So that alone pays, I think, many, many times this kind of a little contribution, that is kind of like a latte, per month. So I would like to see the community growing. It's still quite nice right now with the 300, 400 people that we have, but it would be nice to have, a few thousand people, so we can actually make a very strong community and helping each other. It could be also where if we are several of us that do some coordinated moves, actually we can, I don't say influence the market, but it could have like a little bit impact. It actually could be useful to have some kind of almost like feedback loop. I don't think it's enough, to have a few thousand people, but it's nice. It's also nice to have different people, in the community working with each other, different talent, so it's nice to see it growing. So please join us if you're interested. Anyway, so this main indicator here, and the all base, let me see if I can make the window actually bigger. This kind of works. I think you will be able to see it. Yes, okay. And then I'm going to change this where I can actually drag it and move it around. Yeah, and if you are not used, I know that some people don't use Tradingview because maybe you never traded before. It's still a wonderful app to have, and it's free. Now, you will not be able to do what I'm doing here with 3 indicators if you use the free version, because they allow you only to open 2 indicators at once. You can always open a new window, but if you want to open 3 windows, you will need to get the paid version. But again, it's one of these things where you pay, I know that it builds up $5 here, $5 there, but among all the different silly things that we spend money on, I think, at least personally, Tradingview is one of the most important things, because even if you are a hodler, having a nice interactive chart of Bitcoin, in particular if you have something like this where you're following a very precise scientific approach in understanding where we are in the cycle, what is going on, is almost like a cheating on an exam without knowing all this information. So even if you're an hodler, it's nice to have all this additional information, and you can look at the chart. Maybe it's even something that you can show to your friends to bring them in, because it can show how regular it is. It's a nice investment, and it doesn't cost much. Just I don't remember what is, because I have the higher subscription, but I think the basic one that allows you to do most of the things is just a few dollars a month, $10, $15 a month. I like to pay my chat GPT because I love GPT-4. It allows you to do so many things. I'd rather not buying a latte than having these tools that allow me to understand Bitcoin. So it's a powerful thing to have. So this, and if you come to the Discord channel, we have classes, we have volunteers. So if you can always come in and say, hey, I don't know how to use the Tradingview. I never had we have a video how to set up these indicators, from scratch, how to use them. But we can always help you. So just come. That is a nice thing of having a community versus having X, because it's like family. We talk with each other. We We help each other. It's really cool. So, and eventually we will have actually a video only on Tradingview and how to learn the basics. But it's pretty simple. You can pull out. And by the way, you can look at ETFs. The ETFs information here. On a certain point, we can try to do that. Can show you how to get the ETF information. You can get MicroStrategy or any other thing that SP500 if you want to compare it with Bitcoin. There is a lot of financial information. So if you're into any type of investment, I will really, even if you don't trade, it really gives you so much information for relatively a small amount of money that is almost indispensable. You should be familiar with it. But basically you get your dollar information here. Like we are using this index, that is kind of like an average between all the different market. And it's nice because it goes, this version, you can choose different ones, right? When you click on it, you see it up, you have different type of exchanges. So I like the index, the historical index, because it goes all the way to when we had the first information. So if I scroll, go all the way, and at a certain point there is a dinosaur saying we don't have data anymore. You can always reset the chart so you can actually see it better. And so you see it goes all the way to the first exchanges. And it's nice, to see the evolution of Bitcoin, our model. So this is the power law. We don't have log graph. We are working with a company that is helping us to actually get the beautiful straight line, because it's nice also to see the straight line. So we are developing that indicator too. But this is what is called a semi-log. So you see how you can go here and you can say logarithmic. So this will be, by the way, this will be, maybe you want to see it also in the linear fashion. Look at this. This will be the linear version of the power law. You see how cool it is? So you can go with linear and it will show you that it is this beautiful power law that is basically this power of 6. It goes up like the power of 6. So this is the wide line that you see here. It's the power of 6. And as you go in the past, it was still doing the same thing, going up like with the power of 6, power of 6, power of 6. Now, see how well it does. It's a simple curve, of course, right? It's a simple curve. But it follows pretty well the general path, right? And there are times where we have these bubbles and we color them. So this is the thing that we do. So we have two models here, right? We have a general power law, that is the white line. And then we have the blue. The blue is what we call the full model. So we add, right? Because once you know the general trend, you can add all these components. So the other component that we have are these bubbles, right? So we try to model the bubble in a very simplistic form, that are basically these sine waves, like periodic sine waves. And the full model tries to do two things. It's try to go as close as possible in a very consistent way. Here, of course, the price went above, but if you look at the log chart, it looks almost perfectly aligned, right? Because it's FOMO, so it's possible that within a few days, the price overshoots your model. Model is supposed to be a simplification. It did a pretty good job to come close to the top, right? And then we indicate in red this area where we are above a trend. So if we are above a trend with the full model, we color code it red, right? We have this shading of red. And where we are below the general trend, that is this power law, we color code it green. And these repeats again, okay? And if I go to the log, now it looks much more regular, right? Looks much regular. I wish they had log, then you will see that it's even more regular. It becomes like a straight line. It becomes a straight line in this graph. In this case, it's going to be curving because it's not a log graph, it's a semi-log. But you see how nice here we were catching the bottom line. Here is the top. Again, this is COVID. These bars here represent the halving. Okay, and so during this period of time, it's about 2 years. we are in this green area where you can call it a bottom, you can call it a bear market. They're still going up, but we call it by definition in this look, having this tool of a power law. Bear means being below the trend. Then above, when we're basically this is when the full market starts. This is the last cycles where the two tops. The real top was when, from a cyclic point of view, we are at the right time. So it's both a question of price and time. Okay, and where we are right now, right? So this graph, the beauty of this model is also that it allows us to make predictions, so we can extend this blue line to the future. Unfortunately, TradingView doesn't have more than 500 days. They don't allow you to make projection, or you can do projection in the future, but they give you only 500 days. I don't know. It's a great app, but it has some limitations, unfortunately. So this is where the current price is, right? We drop a little bit from where we were before. This is the projected price on Monday, 15 September 25. Unfortunately, we cannot go all the way to the top. I wish we could. We have other graphs offline where we can do a projection to the next top. But as we go along, there will be a point where 500 days will be the top. So it's nice, 500 days is more than a year, 1 year and a half, right? That we can project that far. But unfortunately, on TradingView, we cannot do more than that. And I put what is the price there, what is the projected price, 178. So it should go all the way to about 210,000. That is what we are projecting to be the top. And that top should be about November or December 2025. So this what is nice about this chart, that it actually projects to the future. And you can also, because of the color coding, because of the other things that we have below, like clocks, etc., you can always compare with where we were, that we can do in a moment, in the previous cycle. What is an equivalent at time and situations? Okay, and this will be easy to do with the clock that we have on the last panel. So, but let me tell you what is the graph below that. And this the color coding here has to do with how much of a deviation we have from the trend, right? So basically, we are trying to create several signals, not just one single signal, but several signals to give us an idea when we are close to the top, when we are close to the bottom, and you use them all together, right? So you want to use 300 signals, but if you have 3, 4, 5, and they all tell a slightly different picture, then you can put it together to get a very strong indication of where we are in the cycle, right? We're close to the top, or we're close to the bottom. So the entire idea, eventually, over time, we would like to be able to sell close to the top and buy at the bottom, if we can. And that is up to you, right? You want to sell 10%, 20%, 50%. Now, I don't suggest to sell everything, but some people could go close to that because they have a little bit more risk tolerance. You never want to believe 100% any model at all, even these ones that are based on science. So, try to be something that is, based on awareness, based on being cautious. So maybe 50% is a good approach, right? And probably you heard me already say that if you do this properly, the next 15 years, you have an upside that is close to almost 1,000 times, 1,000 pair. So Bitcoin is not at all max out. Like some people think, it's not that exciting investment because I can only do. If you are sitting the power law, you want the power law to continue, because if you're only sitting your Bitcoin, you're going to do 64 in 15 years, because the theory says it's the power of 6 of time. So if you double the time, so another 15 years, 2 to the 6 is 64. But by playing this, this again in a very aware, very cautious way, these games of riding the waves, we can use this terminology. We can say we are riding the wave. So we are, if we like a surfer. So if you're using this powerful, beautiful burst of energy and activity in your favor, then you can arrive in 15 years to almost 1,000. Now, 1,000 is, in fact, is 1,200 if you follow the math and the projection for the future. And I'm including already a decay of these bubbles. I'm already including diminishing returns. So if you include this information, you get 1,200. But that is under ideal situation, right? Where you sell here and buy there. It is probably not going to happen, not even me. And so divide that by a factor of 2. Say, okay, I'm going to not be that efficient 2. So you get 500, 600. It's crazy. It's crazy. So I think it's very realistic to get several hundred your return in dollars, right? There will be inflation, etc. But in terms of Bitcoin, you can multiply your Bitcoin by a factor of 5 easily in the next 15 years. Anyway, so what is the second indicator? The second indicator is basically I'm subtracting the general trend from the data, and I'm left with the deviations, right? So the trend is now flat, right? Because I'm subtracting it, so it's 0. So the deviations are here. So it's another way of looking at this chart, but a little bit more in details. You can see that the top areas are really red. How will you handle double tops? Well, I think you should probably sell a little bit simply because we are above the trend line area and we are in this very reddish area zone. But also be aware that it could be double top because it's not happening at the right time, because you want also to listen to the cyclic nature of Bitcoin that is given by this clock underneath that we're going to explain in a moment. And so if you are in an area where we have a top but it's not at the right time, I will be cautious, because in this case you see that second top was a little bit lower, not in absolute price but in terms of deviation, right? This is, you have to be careful. It's here, it looks much lower because the price, the general trend was higher, right? So if you can look here, actually the real top was actually higher, right? So 67,359 versus 63,567 for this double top. So really the real top happened in this area that the clock says it's more appropriate in terms of timing. So when you do have both of them, you have a very powerful tool, because you could sell a little bit here, but thinking that is probably not the right time. Maybe you're seeing some additional FOMO, some event, some news, we push the price higher than it should be. But the amazing thing about Bitcoin, that it always happens at the right time. It follows this timing in a very, very uncannily precise way. So you can combine both information, both the price and time. So where are we right now? So let me tell you a little bit about the last indicator. Then we can go and analyze where we are right now, what is going on, and so on. So in terms of where this last indicator is the clock. I have a free version on my X account that you can always click, etc. But the clock shows the price in a circular pattern. But Tradingview cannot do that. Actually can. We are developing an indicator that does exactly that, but it's not yet available, right? It's going to be soon available. But even if you had an indicator like that, it is, again, another tool in our arsenal. It's nice to have a version of that clock here in the bottom that is linear. So what I did, I look at the sine wave, first of all, basically the projection of the end of the clock on the y-axis, and then I flipped it, where instead of going negative, when the sine wave goes negative, it becomes positive. So it's easier to see like a consequence. So like a conservative phenomena. So the result of that you see these bumps, right? You see how the price goes higher and higher. So the color bands are basically the price, and the color coded. The color coding has a meaning that I will explain in a moment. You see how it goes higher and higher because the price is going higher and higher, right? So it's different from the bottom here is basically the price, the value of the price. It's the radius of this clock, right? So it's a funny clock where the end becomes bigger and bigger and bigger, right? Because the length of the length of the end of the clock represents the price. And the two subtle line that you see here are the full model. So the yellow one is the full model, okay? And the red one is actually the general trend. And they look like these funny sine waves because they are also projected in a clock. So they became circular. And this is why they look like bumps, right? What is the color coding? The color coding has to do with time. So basically, when we are close to the top, and we created this convention, like if it was a clock, where the top is 12 o'clock and the bottom is 3 o'clock, because basically there is like a 1 year between these two, and every year is 3 hours. And 2 minutes, 1 minute is 2 days in real time, in human time. So one Bitcoin day, one Bitcoin minute is 2 days in human time. If you consider, these cycles of 4 years, in this context. So it's very cool. It's very cool that it is one-to-one correspondence that you can use it to your advantage. So you can always ask, what is with BTC time? What is Bitcoin time? Hopefully it catches on and people start to use it, because it's a really cool idea, on how we can use time to indicate where we are in the cycle. So the top is 12, the bottom is 3. And then we have these transitions. We have two transitions. We have a transition to the bear, from the bear to bull market. It's not really bear because you can see here they're still going up, but we can call it bear, quote unquote, because we are below the trend. So if we are below the trend, is by definition bear, but it's still going up. You can see that it's going up, basically following the power law, right? And so in this area between the bottom, the clock time bottom, to the transition, we can call it bear better. And then, once we are 1 year is passed, we are kind of getting ready to go to the next phase that is it's still bearish because we are below the trend, but we are getting ready closer and closer, right, to the full bull market. And this again is the halving where it happened. And so to show you an equivalent time where the bull market starts, it's here, right? That is 9 o'clock. So 12 is the top, 3 is the bottom, 6 is this transition. So the fact that it's peaking here doesn't mean that we reach a peak. It simply means that we are in that phase of a cycle that is a transition from bear to bull. And then the real fun will be here, right? When the full market, the full bull market will start. It is equivalent to this, right? You see how things really got frenzy. It started to go up before that, but it became really crazy when we reached 9 o'clock. If you look at the other similar time, because that is the beauty of this chart. You can go and check a similar time, right? I go here. Okay, great. It was really going crazy, right? So here in this case, this is almost a textbook example of how this follow exactly pattern, right? Because at the time of the transition to full bull market, the market really picked it up, and it was really following the bottom here. It's incredible. But the other one, there were variations. Here maybe we had some bullish news. Market started to get a little FOMO. Then COVID brought it back, to where it's supposed to be. And then the market started to pick up here, right? So it's a cool way. Again, remember, models are supposed to be simplistic, version of a real phenomena that is much more complicated. But we need to have also real information on them. So we color coded these, where red means we are coming closer and closer in terms of time, not price. So here it's price, and here is time. So you have both information, right? They are slightly different way of looking at the same thing. So here is time that is becoming closer and closer to 12. Now the top not necessarily happens at 12, but maybe it usually happens about 1 hour. And this is why it's predictive. This is predictive because as you come, like clocks are predictive, right? You can put an alarm and say, hey, I have an appointment at 11, but let me get ready at 10:45. So you put an alarm there, so you know that we are coming closer and closer. This is predictive. That's why this is different from reactive. It's predictive because clocks are predictive. So it tells you we are coming close to where the top is supposed to be. And the color coding helps you with that. And when we have basically yellow, right, going to green to yellow when we reach the bottom. So you can do the same thing. And you always want to use a combination of things, right, where we are reaching, here is flattening out, with the time seems to be correct. So, it's the deviation from the trend. It starts to go to this line. This red line is 60% deviation from the trend, and it seems like an unbreakable line. See, look at this. So, like even during COVID, we didn't go below that. And so here, something, look at this. Here, we were following very, very closely that line 60. And so this is one way, together with the other indicator, to tell where we are. So, okay, let's focus on today, right? So what can we say about today? And I need to put something to clear. I think when I move it like this, it becomes a little bit fuzzy, but I can fix it. So basically, what happens? Okay, I think what happens is that we got excited because of the ETFs. But ETFs are nothing that are going to break this power law trend. They're not. You can look at the math. It's exactly what we need to continue on the power law. I broke down the math a little bit in my X. I made a post. I'm going to make an article about that on my Medium so you can read the details. But the general idea is that the inflow that is associated with the ETFs is nothing that it's different from where we are at this particular point. That is part of the theory. The theory says everything happens proportionally in Bitcoin. When Bitcoin is ready for something, it's going to happen. It's going to attract it. It's like some kind of a virtuous circle where at the right time, the right resources are coming in, and we are making Bitcoin going to the next step. It happened from when Satoshi, created Bitcoin all the way to today. So the ETFs don't represent a phase shift. They don't represent something that is going to change anything. It's going to be simply, it's great that we are there because simply is what we really need in terms of inflow to go to the next stage. But people got excited because they're thinking in linear terms. They're thinking of this big disruption, this big event that is going to make things go exponential. Bitcoin is not going to be exponential. It's going to continue along the power law. And so, they got excited. So you can modify, right? You can modify the price. A bad news can make the market crash like during COVID, but it will be always within these parameters that are what Bitcoin wants to do. This is not me. This is not Giovanni imposing something to Bitcoin. It's what Bitcoin tells us it likes to do, And so if you go too bit low relatively to this blue line, it will bounce off. If you go too far, it will come back. This is what Bitcoin does. So we had too much excitement, and it's great, because it's an exciting news, but we also push the price a little bit too far. And usually, if we look at this, how it's basically this transition between yellow and orange, right? This is where we are right now. And we can go and check a similar time. It's kind of like here, right? It looks like it's kind of like here. See how, if I move this up, we were not ready yet for the full market, right? we were approaching the general trend. Right now, we are very close to the general trend. And it took some time, right? We need to come closer. In fact, it happened last time, and the market started to really pick up. It was around here, right? It was October 20, and really like a halving happened in May. So similar, right? Right now the halving, because the halving never happened at the same time because of these block times are a little bit fuzzy, right? Some of them are longer, some of them are shorter. So the halving happens all the time at certain number of blocks, right? And so because they are variable, it could be the halving happens 1 month later, 1 month after, but usually around April. So this one was a little bit later. And so everything is shifted by a month, right? So if we look at October, maybe September. So September, if we have something similar, is when things will be really exciting. And then by the end of the year is where officially, from a clock point of view, we are in the full bull market. So these are the things that you should keep in mind, right? That we are still kind of here, where we are below the trend line, but we go even the previous cycle, if we want to compare it with the previous cycle. Again, remember this transition between yellow and orange, that is where, from a time-wise point of view, where here we were actually at the bottom. Previous cycles, we were at the bottom. We were not even close to the general trend. And the full market, the bull market happened. Nothing happened for a little while, and then about a few months later, right, actually when the full market started. But still around this time. It can happen sometime a month before, a few months before, or sometime a few months later. There's always some fuzziness here, right? But still amazing that we can make this kind of analysis within a few months, right? And compare it with other cycles. Now, we will continue to do the same thing next cycle? We don't know, right? But it's what we can do. We can compare with previous cycle. I think Bitcoin will continue to be this periodic, and it will continue to do these things. So this is why I really trust this way of thinking about Bitcoin behavior. So right now we are going down, right? Are we going down even more? It's possible. I don't think we are going to reach the bottom, right? I don't think that we're going to reach the bottom because last time we were so far away from the bottom. It really took a dramatic event like COVID to bring us to the bottom. And then actually we didn't stay. Sometimes could be actually even a good thing. First of all, because we can buy Bitcoin at a cheaper price, right? If you're doing DCA. And second, sometimes you need that kind of almost like spring compression, right? We're thinking about this resetting of the price, like almost like we are dealing with a spring. So if the spring was stretched too much in one side, it wants to go back. There are restoring forces, like this is how we call them in physics, restoring forces. So if you deviate too much from one side or the other side of the equilibrium, and the beautiful thing about the power law, it gives us the equilibrium. It gives us where we are supposed to be, right? If there were no other influences, we will be there. Now, it's possible, one interpretation that I'm still thinking about, that actually the bottom line is the real power law. And this one is there simply because it's trying to find a middle ground between the tops and the bottoms, right? Maybe the really driving force is this, but it still makes sense, right? To find kind of a middle ground between the top and the bottom. And this is what white line is. So because we are so close to that white line, I don't think we will go to the bottom. It's too late. It's happening after the halving. Nothing is impossible. It could happen, but I think it will really need some big bad news to reset it. And again, even if it happens, like I say, it will be a buying opportunity. It will not go below that. What is that below that? Right now, if it happened today, it will be around $35,000. As we go further, it's going to be higher and higher. So it's another thing about having a chart of that, because it can give you kind of a floor that, again, could it go below that by a big amount, like going all the way to 30 or 20? Nothing is impossible with assets, right? If it was possible, it's not even a question of being millionaire and billionaires, you know, it would be crazy, right? And in fact, probably, it, you know, if everybody knew that, it would not be possible to do trading. You know, trading, there is always some uncertainty. Even when you have something incredibly predictable like this, there are still people that are doubting, still people that are not acting on the information. So this is why, you know, there is still some arbitrage for us, right? Otherwise, we will not be able to uh, do any gains, you know, if everything was accounted for. So it's good there is some level of knowing stuff, right? But we know so much, right? So I don't think it's going to drop. And here again, what you will expect if we went all the way down to that level. But I think until the full bull market, and see here we are projecting on the clock when it's going to be. So these caps are of a, see how all the caps are associated with these critical events. So 9 is going to be here, right? We say 9 is when the full bull market starts, right? The full bull market, 9. And 9 is projected to be here. So it's going to be about, you know, the end of this year, right? The beginning of the next year or the end of this year. And this is where we'll be. If you look at the trend, there will be around 51,000, but that means, you know, going down there, because remember, this is supposed to close to the bottom usually and then continue to go up, right? But if we over here, we stay a little bit above, we continue to follow maybe the general trend. The next thing I should do, I should project this general trend here. So we can see this is what I need to do that. And also this upper band. So I have like a lower band, upper band. So I need to project these guys. But, if we kind of follow it, we can even use some drawing tools. But if we follow it, maybe, okay, around, so maybe we continue to stay close to that general trend. So if we project it until we are ready for the full market, we should go up to 89, 9,000, something like that. So even staying close to this trend line, it will make us go up, right? Slowly, but going up. And so, I cannot say much more than that. There is a tool, like if I go back here, we have a couple of indicators that are meant more for like analysis of daily fluctuations. Like I have this Shannon indicator that I'm still working on. It's based on entropy. Let me take out these lines because they're a little bit confusing. So this indicator shows oscillations. It's a modification of an indicator that I have, but I'm adding more information that are relatively to the power law. So I'm using, instead of using an average value, I'm using the power law as my reference point. So it's everything we have here. It's all based on the knowledge of the power law. So even this Shannon, it's stuff that you can find, but I'm always adapting it to the power law because the power law gives us insight that we don't have. So, we have this, if you trust this Shannon, that is relatively cool, so maybe make the other one smaller so you can actually see better. Okay, so let's go back to the big chart. All right, so this one light up that basically say, well, maybe it's a good idea to sell. Okay, so if you wanted to play these games at a daily level, weekly level, something, because these guys seem to happen every, maybe a couple of weeks. I have another one that is even more precise than this one. Maybe we can discuss another next meeting. I'm going to do this every Friday, but I like this one quite a bit because it's associated usually, with time. It's not always super precise, but times when you're supposed to buy because we have like a little bit of a dip. Again, it could be something that if you do with DCA and you see this green triangle, maybe it's a good place where get a little bit of a discount. And so time to buy when you have a green dot, the green triangle, time to sell when you see the red triangle. The buy seems to be more precise when we sell. But, it's, again, trying to do things that push a little bit the envelope. So it does look bearish, right now. So it's possible that it's going down a little bit more. We have bearish news from the Feds. This indicator says we are going down, but nothing to worry about, right? Because there will be small oscillations. I think this is what is going to happen for the next few months until we reach basically the bull market. And so, sometimes it's going to go down. It's a good opportunity if you are doing DCA. Some people get paid every 2 weeks and they decide to use $100, $100. It's a very good idea to do that, right? Buy a little bit of Bitcoin on a regular basis, but try to use this information to actually do it at the right time, right? If you can save a little bit and then do it when we are in a little deep relatively to when we are high, it's actually good. I know. So we'll try to do this on a regular basis. We are also developing tools that are going to do this automatically, or maybe they're going to send you alerts. We do have alerts on our Discord channel. So if you want to, on our Discord server, we have this. Right now we are giving weights for the DCA, but we are trying to introduce stuff like this where we're going to give you alert if there is any dip or there is a place where I don't think you should. So there are some people that like to do some trading, even just to learn how to trade. You could do it with a few $1,000s, few $100, just even as a learning experience. Don't try to do crazy leverage, please. Leverage 2 is fine. Leverage 1.5 is fine. I even sometimes make my own bots that do a little bit of leverage, but don't try, 50 leverage, 100 leverage is stupid. You're going to lose. Over time, you're going to lose. So be careful, learn things, be aware. But right now, we can say that we are a little bit bearish, right? There are several indicators that are telling us that possibly the price is going even lower where we are now, around 61,000, right? It's possible that it's going down to, I don't know, maybe 60 or maybe even 59. Let's keep an eye, right? But again, in the general picture, it's nothing, because we should not even be there right now. We should be closer to the bottom, and there is no sign that we are reached the top or done anything. It's just that we are a little bit too high relatively to where we are supposed to be right now. So we are going to hover, and if you follow the power law, that means anyway we are going still to go up, up, up until the end of the year, right? And then the real bull market should start. And I'm pretty sure that this is going to happen. If it doesn't, it will be a real, different time. Bitcoin is going to do something different. The power law is where I feel super confident that it will continue to do that for the next 10 years. It will be really shocking if it does something different, because the theory says it's part of the nature of Bitcoin to continue this power law. It is what Bitcoin is. It's this network system. The reason why I follow the power laws has to do, it's about its network properties. It's not going to change. That is what causes the price to behave like it behaves. It's not a random phenomena. It is due to this quality of Bitcoin. It's Bitcoin itself. Ignoring it, like some people do it, or even fighting it, it means you're fighting Bitcoin and ignoring Bitcoin. You don't know. I'm serious when I say you don't understand Bitcoin if you don't understand the power law. It is like that. But these bubble things, I think they are true and real, and they are a very fundamental part of understanding also what Bitcoin is, because these bubbles are part of a story and they are an important component of Bitcoin behavior. But we have only 3 bubbles to go with, right? So it will be strange and weird if we don't have a nice bubble like the other ones we had before. but it's not out of the question simply because we have only three, and you cannot really do stats on three examples, right? This is my analysis. I'm going to check if anybody has any question on the on the YouTube online. Hopefully, I find it live streaming. Okay, let me go there. All right. Let me see if there is any body that seems to still be around. Oh, Angela say that in Bolivia, where we really need it, Bitcoin is not legal and we have capital control. I wish I could invest as well. I'm so sorry. You will never catch me saying do something against, the law, but I don't know what to say, I'm sure that politicians do a lot of illegal stuff too. I'm sorry, it's a public video, so I would like to say a bunch of things about that, but it's a liability, so it's horrible. It's horrible, that there are things like this. First of all, it should not be illegal to play with code, and right now, Bitcoin is a code. You can play with code, you can play with math, and if people like to exchange money based on code, it's your right. Should not even be taxable. So I can say what I think. I think it's bullshit. I think it's garbage. I think your government is worse than the government here. But even United States, even Italy, what the heck? First of all, it should not be taxable because, it's a code. It's people exchanging things between themselves, peer to peer. Yeah, there is markets, but it's basically the same thing. It's a way of facilitating. Otherwise, if you really take it so seriously, then make everything, take Bitcoin seriously and make it the money that is legal tender, and then we can have another discussion. Then we can talk about taxes and other things like that. We want to have it both ways. It's horrible, and this is why we need to change the system. The politicians are not representing us. We are supposed to be our employees. This is what the politicians never remember. They are our employees. They work for us, not the other way around. The politicians work for us. We should be able to fire them. And voting is just a gimmick. It's just a gimmick. In fact, it would be better if we didn't even have a politician. It should all be on chain. Decision making should be done by all the people. It's horrible. It's horrible. I don't know what to say, Angela. I'm sorry. If you can find a way to resolve this problem yourself, do it. That's the only thing that I say. Don't break the law, don't get in trouble, but leave a country if you can, get a scholarship somewhere, if you can. It makes me upset. Anyway, since the power law is not a model, can I compare it with gravity? And Apple will always fall to the ground, Bitcoin will fall. Well, it's not really the way of thinking, right? It's a natural law, but the comparison with gravity is in terms of how the equations look like. Are these power law means simply that you have a quantity related to another by a power. So gravity, for example, if you're looking at the laws of gravity, is a power of -2. Here we have a power of 6. So it's not really a one-to-one comparison like that. It's just we are saying these very simple relationships between two quantities all around us, and Bitcoin is like that. Now you have to understand what is similar, and you have to understand what is different. What is different here, we're talking about price, we're talking about time, and there is a very precise relationship between the two things. In general, though, right, the power laws tell us that if we are following a trend, there is a reason. There is some kind of physical mechanism. There is some kind of cause. In the case of Bitcoin, if you read my article because we go deeper, right? So this is why it's not a model, it's a theory. We say what these causes are. There are two causes. There is the growth of the Bitcoiners, and we found out is also a power law. It's not an S curve like many people repeat, S curve, S curve. And they never made a graph. I will show me a graph that shows me that like people repeat these things, like even important people in the community, like they wrote books, etc. We don't make names. They write book, they talk about adoption, and then if you go and ask them, okay, show me, I will, because I will be the first one be interested, show me a curve, show me the data that the Bitcoiners follow an S curve. They never show you that because there is not such a curve. I look for such a curve and I couldn't find it. And instead, it looks like adoption grows like a power law. And it's a power law of 3 in time. We need to trust the data. This is why we have on-chain data and then people don't look at them. Because, some people don't know how to make a graph, or they don't know how to download the data, and they dismiss it because they say, oh, it's a chart, it's a model, like, okay, then what? You are talking about Bitcoin and you're expressing your opinion. So why should I believe your opinion versus the data? So I don't understand some of these influencers that have YouTube channels, they follow by big, large number of people, and they make this claim based on what? Based on their opinion. Like, oh, price will go for $100,000. I expect, like I had some guy, right, some important guy, I can make his name Corey from Swan, right? It's not that I am guessing, but there is a video where he says that he's expecting Bitcoin to reach $1 million within this day. That is a model. And then he goes against the models, So it's opinion and feelings versus data. That is the difference between me and other people. I don't know who you want to. You should not trust anybody. That is the other thing, right? If I have an opinion, then you have to trust me. That goes against Bitcoin. If I have a theory, you can verify the theory, you can go online, you can calculate it, you can get the data, you can compare. And people have done that, and they show that the theory works. So in terms of, an apple will always fall to the ground. So what the idea of predictability is, yes, one end, if there is causes that create this price behavior. So I was telling you these 2 things. One is the behavior of the adoption, that is a power law with power 3. And the other one, how the price responds to the growth in adoption. But again, you will think, why the price will care how many people are adopting it? Or, it's going to be something chaotic or something random. It's not going to follow. People trading, selling it. Who cares how many people are adopting? Instead, no, it's not like that. That is maybe true for other assets. With Bitcoin reacts to the presence of more users with the square of the users. That is a famous theorem, a famous prediction from a engineer in the 80s that is called Metcalfe law. So it's amazing that actually Bitcoin behaves in this way. It's considered a network property. You know why the square? Because the square is the number of connections, the number of interactions. And I want to study that. When you have a theory, the beautiful thing, you go to the theory deeper. This is how you do it in physics. You say, okay, now that I discovered this, why? What is going on? Like, for example, why the force of gravity goes down with the square of a distance. You can try to understand it from a geometrical point of view, or maybe even deeper. You're trying to go down the rabbit hole and discover more and more things. Why in the heck something that is traded on a free market should be efficient and everything responds to the presence of users in this way? And it's supposed to be like that because of these interactions. But, I want to understand it better. Maybe I can make a toy model. Maybe I can make a simulation of what happens. I tried to do something like that. And I have some components of that simulation, but not all. I want to really understand it correctly. But think about it, right? The price goes up with the number of interactions and connections between the users. It's not scarcity. It's not running out of Bitcoin. It's more of us are here. Bigger the price, and the price is also predictable. And it will not be with the square, because what the square has to do with scarcity, right? To be proportional, proportional, because if there is less and less Bitcoin available, it will be inversely proportional to the number of users. Like more user, more scarcity, bigger price, right? It should be all proportional, like linearly proportional. Why the square? There is nothing over there. We say, oh, the scarcity of something goes up with the square of the users, right? Of the demand, right? So if demand is proportional to the number of users, then scarcity should go up with the number of users, but not with the square. Is there anybody that knows a theorem that say, or some kind of argument or logic or math that shows that scarcity goes up with the square of the number of users? There is no such a thing, because scarcity doesn't play a role here. It doesn't. At least not directly. If people are always confusing, they think that I'm against the cap, right? I'm not against the cap. It's a wonderful property. The fact that we have 21 million Bitcoin is fantastic. It's a great thing. I'm not saying that I'm against that. I'm saying that we are not running out of Bitcoin. There is no such a thing. And it's something that people repeat, without zero evidence. And here is the evidence. It goes with the square of the users against it. And so when you combine together, you get the power of 6. This is why, so I think I understand better your question, Patrick. In that sense, yes, you can say that it will continue to behave like that, because if there are real causes that create this behavior, then the causes are not going to disappear. They are going to continue to push the price exactly in the same way. And in general, there is also this principle that I mention all the time that is called scaling variance. So if a system like this grew up in a certain fashion, and it's kind of his DNA, because it behaves in this way and it's growing proportionally over time, it will continue to do that. When? Well, up to maybe another order of magnitude. I don't see why not, because I did it for 8 order of magnitude. Why not one more? There is not really anything to make it change. One could say, well, because the ETF represents no, they don't. We can do the math and show that more or less the flow that we're having right now from the ETF is exactly, in fact, less than what we need to continue on this path that the power law tell us we need to do. It's exactly what we need. In fact, we need more adoption from retailers and so on. We are on the right track, but there is nothing to show that we should be a change in this behavior. So, and this, again, very different from anybody else, because nobody else could tell you, well, my predictions are supposed to be true because some profound scientific principle. I'm telling you that if I'm correct, I could always be wrong. The entire theory could be, based on some misunderstanding that I have. But, so far there have been other professionals that are giving more and more weight. I'm going to publish a paper that is one of my priorities, but so far it seems there is a consensus that this behavior of Bitcoin is real, and if it is real and it's scaling variant, I am probably the only one. Not even Fred sometime mentioned it, but not strongly enough. Fred is one of the biggest supporters, Fred Krueger, of this theory. But I am one of the people that makes a big deal about this scaling variant thing, because it's really the essence of power law. This is why they are so important, because we can use them to make predictions. They are used all the time to make predictions. This is why we make a big deal about them. If we couldn't make prediction, they would be useless. We can make prediction. We can learn a lot of things about what is happening. If there is a new animal that we never discover and is huge and big, we can know what the metabolism is because of the Kleber's law. It's going to follow it. There is no break on it. And usually, if it is, it means something. Like birds. Birds are a little bit above. They use a little bit more energy than they should be supposed to use, and there is a reason, because we have flight. We can understand stuff even when you deviate from that law. So in that sense, you're right. Yeah, it's true. It's a laws of nature, so it's much more predictable. Is power law valid when other currencies? By the way, if you go online on my Medium, I have a Q&A where I answer most of these questions. So it's not that I don't mind to answer these questions, and they are wonderful. Thank you to ask them. But I'm trying to have a quick Q&A, so I don't have to answer the same question over and over again. And I'm not trying to put you down because you're asking, there are new people. But maybe go there and see if all your questions are answered. There is a main article on Medium. I can put the link, and you can read it, and it tells us when there is a question, a Q&A. Let me give you a link right now. Okay. And you can go there and check it out. And there is a Q&A. And this question answer. But in general question, we are trying to use the most stable thing. Also, USD is what is used to do the majority of transactions with Bitcoin. People are not using Argentinian pesos and so on. But also, if you start to go towards, so it will work with euro, it will work with the Japan yen, even if you're experiencing some inflation, etc. More and more inflationary the currency is basically, do you remember when I say we are adding all these things, right? First, we want to understand the general path, but then, like when you do an experiment with your stone, right? You're dropping the stone. Well, if it start to be like hurricane winds, the hurricane is going to make the stone fly. It's the only time when a stone flies. I have a little meme that sometimes I use. It's a little bit jerky from my side to do that, almost like I'm making fun of the person they're asking. But some people sometimes do it in a provocation fashion instead of being a valid question. I would never put down somebody that asks a valid question, but some people sometimes do it almost like a provocation, to make me upset. And I have this cow flying, I call it the flying cow fallacy when we say, hey, why doesn't work with the Argentinian pesos? Because you are telling me why gravity doesn't work during hurricane. It does work. It's still there. It's just that now the wind is so powerful that overcomes the gravity. It makes things fly. Cars fly. Cows fly. It's now what is dominant versus what is not dominant. It's the power law is dominant because it's this underlying behavior of how Bitcoin is growing, like a network with network properties. But if I start to add inflation, and inflation is so huge that it dominates, of course it's going to deviate. And so you have to understand these kind of things to understand what is going on. Hopefully that makes sense, right? Is the period of oscillation always for you? This is what it seems, but probably it's going to work better if I use block time. So many people tell me, why don't you use block time? Because it's really the native time of Bitcoin. The problem with that is we don't know ahead what the block time is going to be. Now, maybe we can make a model of what block time is supposed to be. Maybe there is some kind of way of averaging the block time, etc. I didn't do that yet, and maybe I could do it. The problem with that is that now you have one more thing that you are trying to model, but you are adding to the model. That is the time. So for time, we use for time, and this is why when I tell you use the clock, we could be the peak. Maybe it doesn't happen at 12 exactly. It happens between 11 and 12. So that introduces some randomness, right, in our understanding of time. So we use for time because we can predict it. It's for time. It's a very simple sine wave. But then we need to be careful and say, hey, these oscillations could be, it gives us a range of possible, tops and possible bottoms that are going to happen. Usually it's never more than 1 hour. So remember, I say 1 minute is 2 days. So 1 hour will be 60 days. So it will be about 120 days. So it is about, within a few months, like 2 or 3 months, something like that. And in fact, it's even more precise than that. And it's amazing because knowing ahead of time, like 4 years, that something is going to happen within a few months, it's amazing. And plus, we have all these other things, right? We know how much deviation we have. If we put it all together, and plus, it's not that you're going to do just once, right? Let's start to sell as we come closer and closer, both to the time and to the deviation. start to sell a little bit, right? Let something run out, right? Maybe it's going higher than what we anticipated, and you let a little percentage run out so you can get that gain. And then again, with all the knowledge that we have, also, that's why I invite you to come to our community, because it's really amazing having a lot of people supporting each other, telling us, there are people very active all the time, and modifying our charts and adding stuff to it, and also people that have experience. I put the link here. If you want to join us, go through the instruction. It's only $5. It's not that I'm trying to beg you for $5. It's just like, I was talking to a friend. He created a beautiful app, in fact, and I want to post something about that app, about meeting other Bitcoiners. And it's $4 to get the app, but he told me one of the reasons I'm doing is if somebody doesn't care about the value of the app or doesn't want to meet other Bitcoiners, they don't think it's valuable, then they will not pay the $4. And this, we are taking out the trolls. It's mostly about keeping out the trolls and you committing to actually learning and wanting to know something. And so I'm spending my time there, like I'm doing it right now here. It's not that I'm getting a ton of money by staying another half an hour here. Because it takes hundreds of thousands, if not millions of you before you actually make any money on YouTube. It's mostly do it out of passion, and come to the community. Look it up, check it, stay a little bit if you don't think it's useful to you, and see if there is something that it's useful. It's great to do it as a group, because when you can help me, I can help you. We can think about it. I really believe, because I want to tell you the truth. I started to call these buttons, and I posted also online, right? I showed you. I wish I took a picture of sometime looking. It's mostly on Facebook, and Facebook is really bad in retrieving things. So I did it 2, 3, 4 times, and I found like maybe a couple of them. I took snapshots of when I say, "Oh, we reached the bottom. Oh, we reached the top," and I posted. But believe me, I knew like 1/10 of what I know right now. I kind of started to figure it out, right? I wish I knew this through all the different cycles, because I would have made a ton of money. But you can use this indicator, and there is a function that is called, you see where we say replay over there. You can go back, replay, and show you what will have happened if you didn't have all the future information. You can see how accurate it is. This is one of the things I love about Tradingview. You cannot cheat. This Tradingview doesn't show you future information. It can project it, but it doesn't give you any future data, right? Now, at any point here in the graph, it's only the past data that we have. And so you can see how precise this thing is as you go along, that you can actually, I have people that did this back testing, and they got like 100% score. You cannot fail, because you know where you are in the cycle, on top, close. Now, getting the perfect top, getting the perfect bottom, that is another business. But hey, getting close, like you can see here, it told us $16,000. Again, that's what the last bottom was. It was close to that, right? Imagine if you could do that, right? 16,000, when selling 210, buying back at 70,000, do this over and over again. Even if you are, and people talk about taxes. I don't know, maybe I'm missing something. Okay, every 4 years you pay, because it's not every year, right? Every 4 years you pay 15% taxes. Okay, how is that a big deal? I don't think it is. When you can make 100 times your money in 15 years, it's not a good excuse, So, can I purchase software? How? This indicator. So join us in the Patreon. And so this is how it happens. So we give you, and I show you, we have another indicator, that is the basic one that you get for $5. So it is kind of like almost like a welcome to, let's see if you can actually see this one. Hopefully you can see it. Can you see this one? Let's see. Yes, you're seeing it, right? And yeah, so we have two main indicators. So this one is the one I didn't talk about yet. It's basically similar to the other one, but this one is more adaptive. So you see how it has all these lines, and then you see how it kind of catches the trends here. Like it's almost like you're getting an indicator that has nice support and resistance levels, because these, differently from the other one, instead of having one single slope, is trying to kind of adapt the slope to the new data. So as new data comes in, it adapts to the new data. And so one of the results of that is actually indicating areas of support and resistance. So, and then actually you can use it to identify the dips and so on. And you see how here in this one, we are kind of approximating, coming close to this yellow line. So that yellow line seems almost to be like a resistance level, a support level. Sorry for that. Let me reset. Okay, see, you can see it better here. So you see how this was like a support, and here almost like look like a resistance, right? This blue line that is the general trend is a resistance. So this is the indicator that you get for $5. You get join. Then all the classes, we have 4 classes a week. Um, One is we're reading this book, scale together, all free, all free. All the signals that you get, there is a channel with the signals every day. We give like DCA weights and all kind of stuff. It's really, just mostly to allow people to show that they are a little bit committed. And then if you go to the next level, that is $10, a little bit more support, then you get this. I'm going to colorize, I'm going to update with all the colors that I show you. So this is the other indicator, that is the clock that we discussed. And it's going to have all the colors, that are proportional to the time. I'm going to update it today. And so you get this $2 to $10. And then there is like a new level that is $15. And sorry that I'm talking about these dollars. I wish I didn't. But it's just to give you the idea. So if you want to support the group and the channel and all the work we get, then you will get all these indicators that I showed before for $15. And we promise not to raise the price, unless there is crazy inflation or something like that. But it's basically, that is our package, our basic package, where as I make even more indicator, maybe right now we have like 5 indicators. If I make more, then a new one, it will be in that package and you get it. And then there are higher level support, but mostly for the people who say, hey, look, I can afford it here, $5 more because I love what you're doing, but it's volunteer. So the full package that will have all the different indicators, everything is only $15, and you get like 5, 6 indicators. Believe me, go and check if there are other indicators like these. If there is other organization that gives you all these for $15, it's almost nowhere. Like there are literally 100 people that sell indicators, all kind of indicators, and they usually ask 30, 40, 50. We don't want to do that because it's a community. And it's mostly like, okay, I want to support this project. $15 seems very reasonable exchange, right? But this is really, believe me, it's hours and hours of work, years of research, So it's an equitable exchange, right? This is how it should work. I give you spear, and you give me some pig meat, or cow meat or whatever. It's like that kind of exchange. But because we are brothers and sisters in this thing, we are not charging you crazy amounts. It's symbolic. So hopefully it doesn't offend you. Hopefully you won't think it's all based on. I'm trying to be as transparent as. At some time I think, I need to put one more indicator so it doesn't feel we are trying to take advantage of anybody. This is why I'm doing all these indicators. I want to give you value, but at a certain point, if I put too many indicators, it's going to be distracting. But if there is anything useful, and you want me to explore something, like some people are pushing me to get some altcoins that, other people don't like to have alts, but maybe I can add some alt for the people who want to explore that. There is nothing wrong with learning, even just as a comparison. What is ETH is doing? What CASP is doing? We can compare it. But stick with Bitcoin because it's really the best thing. But yeah, this is a beautiful indicator. You see, it's all these color bands. It's also trying to do the projection. But here you can see, right? If we continue to, let's say we continue with the yellow line, by the time we are ready for the full bull market, this is where we will be. We will be about $72,000. If we over here, right? If we stay on the green line, we will be at 92, right? So I think very likely we will stay within these two bands until this time. Yeah, so this is what is going to happen. And it's a pretty good guess. I hope so, right? That is the entire idea. It's just, believe me, if I really wanted to push it, say, hey, pay me $100, and we'll be actually probably more efficient because probably it's easier to get 50 people that pay $100 than 1,000 people that pay $5, right? Because sometimes people actually don't give value when they pay only $5. We think, oh, maybe this thing is so stupid, this guy is asking for $5. No, I'm giving you 12 years of my work because if I could do it, I will give it for free. And believe me, actually, even if I was a super billionaire, probably will not give it for free because there will be a lot of trolls who come and don't give any value to it. So it's mostly this, like as an exchange where you say, okay, I take this thing seriously. This is why I contribute, to this project, and so this is the idea. But I mean, I'm talking about this because I would like more of you to join our community because it's going to be cool, if we have and then at a certain point, if we have 5,000 people, probably, I don't know, I don't want to make it like a closed door club, but if people are worried about us impacting the market, it's nothing. A few hundred people do not impact the market, and nobody's going to play against us because all what we are going to do is what everybody else is doing. That is, like I show you many graphs with the long-term holders do exactly this. They know when the bottoms are for some reason, they sell at the top. We are trying to do what they do. Now daily trading, etc. I'm working on that because it would be cool to have a bot with those maybe few extra $100, if we can learn how to do daily trading. But it's something more than a hobby than there's a really serious thing, because the serious thing is understanding Bitcoin. The cycles they are part of the story. It's so important information that and I would never go against a hodler that says, hey, look, I want to stick with hodling. In that case, you can still use this information because put aside your money if you're doing DCA and don't buy at the top. Why do you want to buy at the top if you can buy at the bottom? You don't want to sell your Bitcoin, then try to be clever in when you buy and sell. And this information helps you also with that, so use it. That's why I'm working so hard. I want you to use the information. If it was about becoming rich, I will not charge $5. I will charge hundreds of dollars. I want you to use it. I want you to make. I am a teacher. I love people knowing and understanding things. And right now, my subject of study is Bitcoin, which is one of the most beautiful things when one can study. Where does energy get energy? From Bitcoin. Bitcoin is my energy source. I don't know. I drink coffee and I have my favorite energy drink that is Rockstar. I should drink less than that. But it's passion. I love this topic. I love the community. That is where it comes from. Okay, can you use more of your screen? Thanks. What do you mean? Screen? I don't know what is. Can you re-elaborate the question? Can you use more of your screen? Oh, more make it larger. Yeah, I can try. I mean, it becomes large, right? When I click on the big picture. But anyway, the best way really is to get the indicator, because then you can zoom in, you can zoom out, you can move it, and it's really cool when you do that. Looking for other questions. Why the power law was considered log in the state? Why not to be? The reason why we use log 10 is simply easier, right? Because when you're talking about prices and you have, so a log, without complicating things, right? You can choose any base you want. You could say, hey, I want to express number as 2 to the power of something. That, for example, what many computer scientists do, because they have like 1, 2, 1, 0, 1, 0, right? When they play with the state of a transistor, right? On, off, on, off. So they like to, these binary numbers, right? It's all about expressing things as powers of 2. In our case, it's all prices. So, 100, it's easy to express as 10 to the 2, 1,000, 10 to the 3, 10,000, 10 to the 4, right? It's natural for prices to be expressed in that way. This is called the scientific notation. And then we use log 10, but nothing will change. I could use any log. What will change will be the intercept. So instead of being 10 to the minus 17, it will be another number if I use another log. But it's the same thing. Okay. So I love to talk with you guys. My girlfriend is going to wait for me. She so need to leave. Okay, but thank you so much for your questions and to be listening to me. Hopefully we can do this on a regular basis. Let me know in the comment if you want to see me talking. Maybe next time we can go also through, in fact, another indicator that I'm creating is an ETF indicator. Okay, and we can look it up next time and see the flow of the ETFs and compare it with Bitcoin price, if you can learn something from that. And even that will be part of a deal. I'm going to add it in the $15 deal, where you have an ETF indicator. So instead of seeing a static graph of ETF, you will see what happens to the ETFs, and you can interact with it. This is why I love Tradingview. It's really the most incredible app. I wish it didn't have some of the limitations that we have, but it's really amazing because it can allow us to see anything. And then we can do muster. I have another indicator that shows liquidity, that I'm actually adding. I'm adding, like, at a certain point, we will have like 20 indicators all in one big package, but it's cool. If they are useful to you, it's great. So let me know if you have some comments of things that we want to discuss in this Friday meeting. On a Friday, we can do this review of the market, where we are, etc. Next time, we can do a little bit of the ETFs and maybe even MicroStrategy, or even maybe mining companies. Anybody's interested in looking at them. Okay? We will do this on every Friday at 4:30. Every Friday at 4:30 p.m. PST. Okay. So thank you, guys. Thank you so much. I will see you next time. Okay. Thank you so much to be here. Bye.